So let's start the session. In today's class, we are going to discuss the functions. Next topic is on functions, right? Now, functions means nothing but it is a group of statements which are used to perform a specific task. So, for example, there is a function. One function is there. Function name is called as srk_add is the function name. Assume this function. What is the use of this function? Means this function is used to do a specific task. Means inside that function there will be certain lines of code is there. That lines of code will be executed. So a function is a group of statements where it is going to perform a specific task. Just whatever it is there inside the function, it is going to perform the task. A function is a statement that takes input and do the specific computation and produces the output. So it is going to take some inputs. Okay. So, and this avoids the repetition and make the code reusable. So this is the most important point. So it is avoids the repetition. So when we are going to use these functions means when there is a repetition and once again you are going to use the same thing, then we are going to use these kind of functions. We are going to create a shortcuts. So whatever the program is there for the entire program, we are going to create a shortcut by one line of code. Though it is a 500 lines of code also, we are going to create one line of code as a shortcut. So this shortcut is going to be useful. When it is going to be useful means when you are going to have the repetition of the code. If you're not repeating means then there is no use of function. So this avoids the repetition and make code reusable. If you use functions in the libraries, so these functions we are going to use in the libraries. In the future, we are going to discuss the libraries. So as everyone knows in the Python for data science, okay, NumPy is the library, Pandas is the library, and SciPy for statistics, we are going to use SciPy. For machine learning, we are going to use sklearn. So these are the various libraries. We are having multiple libraries in the Python. So what is the use of these libraries means? Inside these libraries, there are certain functions are available. Okay. Within that libraries, we are having certain functions. Just it is going to, we are going to learn what are the various functions are available in this library. In this library, what are the functions are available and what is the use of that function? In this library, what functions are available and what is the use of that function? In this library, what functions are available and what is the use? In this library, what are the functions are available and what is the use? If you learn the libraries, inside the libraries, what are the functions and what is the use of that function, the libraries are completed, right? So just in any library, just we are going to learn the number of functions. What are the functions are available? The function, just we are going to learn the functions. So within the functions, we are having two types of functions. The first function is called as inbuilt function. The first type of function is called as inbuilt. The second function is called as user defined. Inbuilt function means by Python. It is available in the Python by default. You are not created. Okay. It is available in the Python. So by default, it is available in the Python. It is called as inbuilt function. Example like print function. So here, if you observe this one, inbuilt function, one of the example, ABS. ABS is the one of the function name. ABS is the function name. And inside the function, I'm going to give -10. What is this ABS function means? It is going to return the, with respect to, it is going to return the absolute value. Absolute value means mod of -10. If you give positive value means okay. If you give negative value means it is going to return the positive values, right? This is the function absolute. Now, if I click on the absolute of -10, it is going to return the positive 10 plus 10 since I have given the -10. For example, if I have given the +10, directly +10 only. So if I give -10, it is going to return the +10. Now, what is the backend code? So this is the function. Okay, fine. What is the backend? What it is going to do in the backend? So in the backend code, it is having a function like this. So whatever the value you are entering, whatever the value you are taking, that value, whether it is less than 0 or not, it is checking. If it is less than 0, just it is converting to the positive value and it is printing. Else, whatever the value is there, that value only. So just this is the code. So see here, what I have done is def srk1. srk1 is the function name. So what is the syntax for creating the user defined means def, def means define. Def means meaning is define. You are defining a function. Def function name. You are going to write the function name. And bracket open and close. Compulsory. For functions, open and close brackets are mandatory. Right? Now, within this function name, you are going to write the arguments. Arguments. You are going to take the arguments. Okay. And you are going to write the block of code. Whatever the code you want, you can write the code. Now, this function, this is the syntax. Syntax for defining a user-defined function. This is the syntax. Now, in this function, whatever the function name and arguments, you can write with argument, without argument, with single argument or multiple arguments, or no arguments also possible with 0 arguments. Now, Here I have created def. First I have taken def function name. Function name I'm using srk1 is a function name. And arguments. What are the arguments I'm going to select is only one argument. That argument name I'm keeping as a. If a is less than 0, okay, a is equal to minus a, print a. Okay, this is the thing. Now what happens here, when I have defined the function like this, I have to call the same function with the same name. And okay, we have to define the same function. We have to call the same function. This is called as calling the function. This part is called as defining a function. This is called as defining a function. And this is called as calling a function. You're calling whatever you have created, that function you're calling. While calling the function, here how many number of arguments you have given? One argument. Here also the same number of arguments should be there. Okay, instead of a, I'm writing 10. What is the meaning of this? Means it is going to consider a is equal to 10. Just it is going to assign the variable assignment concept. It is going to apply the variable assignment concept. For example, here you have created only one argument, but here you have given two arguments. A is equal to 10, 20. It is going to throw an error because a can store either 10 or 20. If you want to give the value as multiple values, then take the list. That is not a problem. But only one argument you have to give. Argument should be only one. So what I'm going to give that argument is 10 as the argument, minus 10 as the argument. Now, whenever I have given the minus 10 as the argument, now a is equal to minus 10. Now a value will be considered as minus 10, and it is going to perform that inside the function, whatever the lines of code is there, it is going to perform. Inside that, a is less than 0. If a is less than 0, a is equal to minus a. What is meant by this? A is equal to minus a is minus of minus 10 plus 10. So a is going to be stored plus 10 and print a. Print a is print 10. So it is getting print 10. Right? So this is the backend code of this one. Sir, you have written the backend code. From where we can find this backend code, sir? None of the backend code you can find. For any function, what is the backend code is there? You can't see directly. Okay. So just, sir, then how we can use that function? So function, for example, this is there. ABS is the function is there. Let us write like this. ABS. Okay. This is the ABS is the function. Okay, sir. ABS function. Inside this one argument, I have to give two arguments. I have to give three arguments. How many arguments I have to give? How I can know? We have to open the shift tab. That is called as help file. Shift plus the tab. If you click on the shift plus tab, it gives you the help file. It opens the help file. You can see the help file. Now in the help file, you can see here, this function, how many number of arguments it is considering? One argument. The argument name is X here. They have created with X. Okay, only one argument. Sir, what is this hash? Hash means completed. No more arguments. Okay, so hash is not having any use. Okay, now whatever the X is there, so X is going to consider one argument. It is going to return the absolute value of the argument. So document string, doc string means it is going to give the help file. Okay, we'll understand. This function is used to return the absolute value of the argument. Whatever the argument you have given, it is going to return that argument absolute value. Okay, so this is returns the absolute value by considering only one argument. So here I'm going to give instead of one argument, if I give two arguments. If I give two arguments, it is going to throw an error because absolute can take only one argument, but two have given. You have given two, but it can take only one. So you have to give only one argument. You can't give multiple arguments. Okay, done. Sir, instead of this absolute value, instead of value, if I write SRK, ABS of SRK, again it will throw an error that absolute value I can't do because minus of minus cannot be applied for this strings. It is going to throw an error, that type error. So this is useful only for the numerical values to convert the negative values to the positive values. Okay. Now, okay, sir, fine. Absolute value is there. Like this, how many functions are available? And how I can know all these functions means in Python, almost we are having 16,000 libraries are available. Within that modules, again, functions, almost we are having with more than, to be more precise, with we are having more than with 5 lakh functions are available in the Python. Okay. So are we going to learn all the stuff? Miss? No. None of them will not learn that, right? Whatever we required, according to that, we are going to learn. Right? What are the functions we required? According to that, we are going to learn. Sir, what are the functions we required? How I can know? That is the reason you are sitting here and I am teaching. What functions are important for data science? That functions explanation only me. If you know, if you understand what are the functions are important for data science, means no need of any trainer also. We can open directly help file and we can learn on our own. Simple. Right? So here what we are going to teach, sorry, what I'm going to teach you is Simple is functions. Whatever the various functions are available in the library, I'm going to teach you the functions. In each library, which functions are useful and what is the use of that function. If you understand, miss, data science is completed. Including artificial intelligence also same. So what is the difference between machine learning versus artificial intelligence means? Machine learning works on the sklearn, in the sklearn library functions which are available in sklearn. Artificial intelligence works on the which are the functions are available within the Keras. Library changes. Inside this also function, inside this also function. For every function, the arguments will be different. So for example, if you want to use this function, what is the argument you have to give, miss? Only the numerical value you have to give. That is either int or float. Negative value, positive value. Either positive int or negative int. Similarly, positive float value or negative float value. So for understanding this function, you require int and float. If you understand int and float, this function is easy. Similarly, for other functions, you have to understand what are the required arguments according to that. Is that clear? So now let us see this user-defined functions. What is user-defined functions, miss? User has defined himself. So functions that are defined by ourselves to do a certain specific task. So within the function, there is a code is there. This code will be executed. Okay. So what is the syntax, miss? Def function name and write the arguments. These arguments are also called as parameters. Arguments or parameters, both are same, right? And you can write with respect to the function, and finally it is going to return. So here I'm going to create a function. So defining a function, or you are creating a function. Okay, generally we'll call as defining a function instead of creating a function, right? So defining a function means def. I'm going to create a function def add j comma k, two arguments. Z is equal to j plus k and print z. Okay, now this is a function which I have created, where it is going to add the two arguments. Whatever the two arguments you have provided, it is going to add these two arguments. Now, while calling a function, this is defining a function. Now I'm calling a function. How to call a function means directly you have to call with the function name. Just you have to give the function name and number of arguments. So here the number of arguments are j comma k. It is 2 comma 3. Now j comma k is equal to 2 comma 3. J is equal to 2, k is equal to 3, and execute this specific task. Whatever the task inside the function is there, execute that one by considering j is equal to 2, k is equal to 3. So now j is equal to 2, k is equal to 3 means 2 plus 3, z is equal to 5, print z. That is 5. So it is going to print the 5. Just it is going to take the j value as 2, k value as 3, and it is going to perform the task. Is that clear? So the number of arguments while designing the function, while defining the function, and while calling the function, it should be same. For example, here you have created with 1 argument means you have to call with 1 argument. You have created with 10 arguments means 10 arguments you have to call. You have created with 0 arguments means you have to call with 0 arguments only. Okay, how many number of arguments are there inside the function based on that? Now, sir, here, for example, let us take like this, j plus k, whatever is there. So j value can take as int value, k also int value. Now this function is used for what purpose? For adding the two numbers. Now that same thing, what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep as a comment. Inside the function, I'm going to keep as a comment. So here, triple inverted commas open, triple inverted commas close. Now within this, whatever you have written, that is considered as a comment. Now the same comment you have written inside the function means then it is called as documentation string. A document string, doc string. What is meant by doc string means nothing but whenever you open the help file, it will open the same thing. So here def add a comma b. You have taken a comma b means this function was created with two arguments. Inside this is a comment. C is equal to a plus b. Return C value. So either you can print, you can use the print, or second option is you can use the return. Two options we are having. One is with respect to print. What is the difference between here and here? Sir, here you are not interested with the j comma k. Take this one also, a comma b only. As per your choice, whichever you are interested, you can select a plus b. And this is C. Okay. And print C. I'm creating a function and I'm calling the function by using the same. So just now what happens in the when now I'm calling this function, what happens? A is equal to 2, b is equal to 3, and execute this inside the function. Whatever the code is there, execute the code. Okay, inside if is there means if, for is there means for, while is there means while, whatever is there inside the function, you have to execute that code by considering a value as 2, b value as 3, because I have called with 2 and 3. For example, you have called the same function with 5 and 3 something. Now automatically a is equal to 5, b is equal to 3. Sir, I want to use 3, that is 3 and 9. So automatically a is equal to 3, b is equal to 9. It is just taking that A value as 3 and B is equal to 9. And it is executing the, whatever the inside the function is there, it is getting executed. Now, same thing, the same thing as it is, I'm writing def add of A comma B, def add of A comma B, C is equal to A plus B, C is equal to A plus B, print C, same to same, as it is have written. Now, just what I'm adding is, so here, while calling this function, if you use the shift tab, here it is saying that no doc string is available. It is showing the A comma B, add of A comma B, but can you see here, no doc string. Now, once again, I'm going to use the same. Okay. Now, while calling, now I am calling the same function add. Now, if you open this one, this function returns the sum of two input numbers of A comma B. Whatever I have written here in the doc string, it is going to show same as it is here. Okay. So this function returns the sum of two input numbers, A comma B. Whatever the two input numbers you have given as A comma B, it is going to return the sum of two numbers. So if you want to see the doc string like this, means in the future, in the furtherly, whatever the function you have created, and the furtherly some others, they are going to use your function, means they have to understand for what purpose you have created this function. So this function is just 2 lines now, they will understand. For this type of functions, you no need to write. But for example, you are writing 20 lines or 40 lines of code. For some purpose, you are writing that code. For what purpose you are writing the code is document string, right? So document string, where it is going to give us the help file. So now when I open this one, so the function returns the sum of two input numbers, A comma B. So I have to give two input numbers, that is 3 comma 9. Now, what is the difference between above and below? Above also you have done the same, below also you have done the same. What is the difference between both of them? You have defined the function. Here also you have defined the function. Okay, here you are calling the function with 3 comma 9. Here you are calling the function with 3 comma 9. Both are same. The only difference is you have added the document string. It will help in the future for what purpose you have created this function. If you're not interested, means no need to give. It is not compulsory that doc string should be given, right? Now, this is a print. Now, once again, I'm copying the same. Okay, once again the same. Now instead of printer, I'm going to take the return C. Okay, this is the function. Now, I'm calling the same function. Once again, I'm calling the same function. Okay, 3 comma 9. Again, it is going to give the same to same. Now, what is the difference? Either you can use the print or return. Return means from this function, you give the output as C value. Now, what is the difference between these two? What is the difference between print and return means? Print C, here the print C, it is printing the value. Now, this value you can store a miss, you can't store this value. Whereas this value you can store miss, yes, you can store this value. That is the difference between these two. So from this function is going to return the C value. C value is written. This C value, what is the C value miss? Here add 3 comma 9. 3 comma 9 means A is equal to 3, B is equal to 9. 3 plus 9, 12. Return C. Return the 12 value. It is returning the 12 value, not the alphabet C. It is returning the value of 12. So value of 12 I'm getting outside. Only value of 12 I'm getting. So now this value of 12, if I want to store in a new variable, I can store in a new variable. For example, I is equal to, I can store. Means nothing but I is equal to add of 3 comma 9. Means 3 comma 9 after doing this function, whatever the value it has written, that value will be stored in the I. So generally the functions will have the return rather than print. They'll have the return because if you want to store the value, it has to return the value. It should not print the value. Printing is different. Giving only the value is different. Right? So that is the reason they'll return the value instead of printing. Sir, now you have now what is the difference between above and below? So same to same. Defining a function A comma B. I have written the comment. C is equal to A plus B. C is equal to A plus B. Print C. Here return C. Now if I open this help file, in the help file also, this function returns the sum of two input numbers, A comma B only it will show. It will not neither show that it is printing or it is returning, it will not show anything. The backend code it will not show. Whatever the code is there, the code it will not display the code. It will just tell the what is the use of this function. For this function, how many number of arguments are required, that it will show. Okay, is that clear? Now, next. So here you can observe clearly that what is the difference between print and return, right? So print and return is almost same because I have taken as it is same, right? Only difference I have changed is print. Instead of print, I have written the return, right? Now, this function, sir, you are creating a function in a separate cell and you are calling a function in a separate cell. It is mandatory like that? No. If you are interested, you can call in the same cell only. That is separate and this is separate. You can call in the same cell only completely. No problem. Absolutely no problem. Okay. So You can call in the same cell. If you're not interested in writing in the separate cell, means write in the same cell. Define the function and call the function. Right? Now, let us see this. Sir, here output only 12 is there. Side to that output, here output is there, but here no output is there. What is the difference? Why it is not printing here? Here it is printing only this one. Why it is not printing here? Because, for example, A is equal to 20. A is equal to 20. Variable assignment. First class, variable assignment. Okay. Now, this is the first line. Okay. Now, print A. What is the output, guys? 20. It is going to print the 20. Just 20 it is going to print. If I ask only A, what is the answer? 20. So only A also will work. That too, it is working only in the Jupyter notebook in the last line. If it is in the last line, it will work. So now you can see here, now OUT out. So when you are asking with a single variable, the value only it is printing. It is not printing the thing. There is no print statement. Whenever there is a print statement, it is not going to give that one. Whenever there is no print statement, only the value get returns. Automatically show us this is the output. It is not the input, it is the output. So to indicate us, this is the output value. To indicate us, it is showing that OUT. This one. That is the difference. So here, this one was created by using the printer. So while calling the function also, it is just printing. This 12 was printed directly. So that is the reason OUT is not there. While this one, it is returning the value. The value you are going to get. So like this. So it is getting the difference between those two is this one. Is that clear now? Next, def sum underscore 4. Def sum underscore 4 means I'm creating a function with sum underscore 4, where 4 arguments I'm going to take. And return A plus B plus C plus D. Okay, return A plus B plus C plus D, sum 4. Now I'm calling this function. So now this function was created with how many arguments? 4 arguments. So you have to give the 4 arguments. Sir, these are the 4 arguments. Now, if you observe this, sir, A plus B plus C plus D, directly you can write directly like this, no? So A comma B comma C comma D is equal to 3 comma 4 comma 8 comma 9. A plus B plus C plus D means automatically it will give the 24 as the answer. 2 lines is sufficient. For that, why you created 2 lines of function and 1 line of calling? What is the use of doing all these things? Just you can write 2 lines only, right? Why to create the function? Why you are wasting your time for writing the function? Means, for example, here you are having with respect to A comma B comma C comma D is equal to 3 comma 4 comma 8 comma 9. A plus B plus C plus D. This is the code. In the Python cell, you are writing the code and the output you are displaying is 24. Okay, fine. 2 lines of code completed. Fine. Now A comma B comma C comma D is equal to 13 comma 24 comma 8 comma 9. Again A plus B plus C plus D. Now what is the output? That is 13 plus 24, which is 37. 37 plus 8, 45, 54. Right? Now A comma B comma C comma D is equal to 12 comma 8 comma 7 comma 4. A plus B plus C plus D. Again, you are writing 2 lines of code. This is the 2 lines of code. Output. This is the output. This is not the line of code. This is the output. So 12 plus 8, 20, 20 plus 7, 27 plus 4, 31. So you are going to get 31. Now here, how many lines of code you have written? To see 24, 54, and 31, how many lines you have written? 6 lines. Now the same thing, you are going to bring the same thing. First, I am defining the function with 2 lines. For multiple times, I am calling with only one time. When there is a repetition only, the function is advantage. If you are not repeating means, directly writing the function one time is better. Instead of getting the function, write the program for one time is better. No need to create the function. When you have the repetition only, create the function. No repetition means no, don't create the function. It is waste. Right? Now, so here if you observe this, multiple times we can call that same function. Right? Now, there is a, for number in range of 1 to 100. For number in range of 1 to 100. If number is divisible by 5 and number is divisible by 7, the print the number. Means this program is, what is the use of this program is print the numbers. Print the numbers which are, sorry, print the numbers between 1 to 100. Okay. Where 100 is not included. Included only, you will have the inclusive. Whenever there is a word of inclusive, only 100 is included. If they have not given the 100 means, just they have given only 1 to 100 means, they have not given that inclusive word means, by default, it is not included. Okay. Print the numbers between 1 to 100, which are divisible by 5 and 7, both. Which are divisible by 5 and 7. This is the function. So a function I'm writing for num in range of 1 to 100. 1 to 100 means 1 to 99. So first it is going to take 1. It is going to check whether it is divisible by 5 or not. And 7. Like this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 is sufficient. That is true. But whereas 5 divisible by 7 is equal to 0 means no, it is false. So true and false means false. So false means if condition will not work. So next 7 will come. When the 7 is there, this condition is true, but this condition is false. So it will not work. So whenever you are having the number is divisible by both 5 and 7, at the time only it is going to collect that number and it is going to print that number. So that is 35. 35 is divisible by 5 and 35 is also divisible by 7. So 35 will be selected and it is going to print the 35. Similarly, 70. These are the two numbers which it is going to give. Now the same thing, the same to same, write the function to print the numbers between 0 to 100. So copy. I'm going to create one more cell. Instead of this print the numbers, write a function. Write a function that gives the numbers between 1 to 100 which are divisible by 5 and 7. It is asking a function. Now what I'm going to do? Function def underscore num underscore 5 underscore 7. Some name I'm creating as per my choice. For any function, you have to use brackets. That is mandatory. Now, whatever is there, just keep this one and call. Now, here automatically, this function was created with how many arguments this function was created? 0 arguments. That no arguments are there inside. So while calling the function also, no argument should be there. Just you have to call as is. Okay, this function also you have to call as is. Automatically inside that only 1 to 100 is there. It will take automatically 1 to 100 and it will give the same output. Whatever the above output is there, the same output. This is creating the function. Sir, instead of 1 to 100, 1 to 200, 1 to 300, some numbers. So here you keep the I and keep the I here only. This is I. Now automatically here if you keep 100, automatically I is, what is I? 100. If you want for 200, change 200. Automatically I is 200. If you want to change 300, I is 300. Now this is up to whatever the number you want, from starting to ending number, anything number. So this argument was created with one argument. You have to use one argument compulsory. Otherwise, it will throw an error. If you ask with no arguments, it will throw an error because this function was created with one argument. Compulsory, you have to give one argument. So minimum one argument you have to give. 100 means 100, 200 means 200, whatever the number. Is that clear? So they asked you to create the function. What I have done? Did I this whatever the specific task is there? This entire code is the function code. This is a normal for loop code. Just what I have done, I have kept it inside the function. That's it. Is that clear? Sir, for example, the first value also, range also, between the, ask the user to enter the numbers. Which one? Which batch? Data science. Okay, so write a function. Here we are having with respect to 1 to 100. They have given the values directly 1 to 100. Sir, underscore is mandatory while defining the function. No, that is your choice. Not interested. Huh? Okay. 57. Num57 is the function name. While calling also num57. Whatever the function name you are interested. The function name, what are the conditions for function name is same conditions what we have used for variable name. Same conditions. Okay, it should be on the same conditions. Whatever the function name, you can write as per your choice. Okay, there is no rule that you have to use underscore. Okay, right. Next, something I'm saying. Here instead of starting 1 to 100 directly in the question they have given. For example, the question was given with ask the user to enter the starting value and enter the end value, both of them. That too you have to create inside the function only. So what I'm going to do is, so I'm going to create I comma j, 2 arguments, where I is collecting the I is equal to int of input of enter the starting number, Similarly, j is equal to int of input of, okay, enter the end number. Okay, you have taken with respect to I value and j value, 2 values you are collecting, and for I comma j. that is starting number to ending number. Now this function was created with how many arguments? 2 arguments. For example, I have not creating with no arguments. Okay, this function was created with no arguments. Now while calling the function also, you have to call with no arguments. Now automatically it will ask the what is the starting number. I'm entering the starting number as 1, ending number as 100, right? So this function was created with no arguments. Or for example, this instead of creating with no arguments, what is the second option? Means the same function. Okay, so I'm keeping this one inside this only. I'm calling the function also here only. num57 of just I'm asking like this, where 1 and 100. Okay, this is one way. Second way of execution, the same code, second way of execution. So here I'm going to take I comma j. Now no need to ask the user to enter the number. Okay, so now I'm calling this function, same function I'm calling once again. Now while calling this function, what are the 2 arguments you have to give? I and j. That is the user directly defining that one. User is going to enter I value, j value. Whatever the I value, j value they have entered, according to that it is going to work directly. Okay, one is asking the user inside the function, one is directly asking the user to enter whatever the arguments you want. Whatever the numbers you want, directly provide that as the arguments only. Why separately you want intent that one? This is also arguments only, right? Arguments is given by user only, right? So is that clear? The difference between these two? So you can create an empty function with no arguments and ask the user by showing the input. Rectangular box, inside that they are going to enter the starting value, ending value. That is one way. This is another way. Sir, which one is correct? Means whichever you feel easy, that is correct. Because at the end they asked the function which gives the numbers between 1 to 100. Directly they have given 1 to 100 means okay, between the given range. They have given the question like this, which are divisible by 5 and 7. Within the given range, which are divisible by 5 and 7. Within the given range means the range is given by the user. The starting value, ending value, both they are providing by the user, right? If this is the question, you can write this one or this one. This function was created with 0 arguments. This function was created with 2 arguments, starting value, ending value. Is that clear? Now, so here I'm having the numbers, list of numbers, where we are going to add the list of numbers. So this already you know, using the for loop, how to add the list of numbers. Yesterday only we have discussed this one. So how to add, that is summation is equal to 0, sum is equal to sum plus I, this one. Now the same thing, same code, now you are going to take as a function. Now what you are going to do? Just you are going to create a function, sum underscore list of a. Now where a should be, now you are creating this function. Now for example, this function was created. I'm calling this function, whatever the function was created, sum underscore list. Inside this, how many arguments I have to give? 1 argument. So I'm giving 1 argument as 12, assume. Now what happens? For num in a means what happens? For num in 12, it is going to select 12. For loop can be applied for integers. No, for loop is applied only for the sequence of numbers. So where a should be as a list or a tuple or something. The same thing, sir. How I can know a is a list, sir? I have provided int. But how you can know is that you have to provide in the documentation string. So this function returns the sum of values in a list. Okay, where you have to consider a is a list. So now this function was created. Now you are calling the function also with 1 argument, means one list of values. That list of values are 1, 2, 3, 4. Now this entire list is there, right? This 1, 2, 3, 4 list is stored in the variable called as a, because this function was created with a, so it is storing a. Now it is going to apply for num in a. Num in a means num is equal to 1 and it is going to execute. Num is equal to 2, num is equal to 3, num is equal to 4. Is that clear? Just here, whatever the number of arguments are there, here the number of arguments should be the same. Because it is just assigning the variable assignment. Here list you have given means the list of 1, 2, 3, 4 is stored in the a. It is not storing 1, 2, 3, 4 separately. It is not like this. You have not given this one. Please observe this function very clearly. Sum underscore list is the function name. Brackets, this brackets, outer bracket, this bracket and this bracket, these 2 brackets, whatever these 2 brackets are there, these are called as function brackets. These are function brackets. Whenever you are creating a function or whenever you are calling a function, brackets are mandated. That is the syntax in Python. So these are function brackets. They are not tuple. Okay. Now inside this, whatever you are providing is the argument. That is 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a list. If you are providing the brackets, this is the function brackets. Within the function brackets 1, 2, 3, 4, if you give me 4 integers you have given. This is 4 arguments. This is 1 argument. Within the bracket, you have given one more bracket with 1, 2, 3, 4. Then what is the meaning? Miss one argument, that is tuple argument. The argument is tuple argument. For example, you have written like this 5, 6, 7, 8. 2 arguments, 2 tuple arguments. This is first argument. This is the second argument. For the main square bracket, comma, before comma first one, after the comma second one, like this. Is clear? The main bracket, whatever the main bracket is, that ignore that main bracket. That is function brackets. Is that clear? So just it is going to execute the code, right? Now, so like this, you can create as per how many functions you want, you can create. For example, in the last class, we have discussed. So multiple programs we have discussed, right? For all the multiple programs, multiple functions you can create. So in the last class, out of one of them, I'm going to show you one of them. This is a factorial, right? How to compute a factorial of a given number using a for loop. In the last class, we have discussed, right? So here, we are going to take the factorial. Now, the same question I'm asking, write a function for the factorial. Instead of write a program, I'm asking to write a function. Now, what you are going to do? Copy the same code. Code is not going to change. Instead of this, you are going to create def factorial. Fact. Okay. Now, if you want a to be asked inside, miss, you keep the a value inside. No, sir, a value here only directly the user is going to define, miss. A, if you are keeping here, miss, remove here. That's it. That is your choice. If you want a inside only, miss, empty factorial, empty function with no arguments. A function with no arguments you have to create. If you want a directly, now if you write like this function was created. Now, fact of a miss, fact of 5. Now, automatically, okay, a value is equal to 5. It is going to consider the a value as the 5 and it is going to return the output. What I have done, just I have added the fact function name I have created. This is the code. I have not disturbed the code. I'm not writing the new codes. Just I'm showing how to write the functions only. Just to use the one line of code like this. For 4 lines of code also, we are calling with only one line. Now, in the future, we are going to learn the libraries. I told you libraries, right? In the libraries, we are having one of the library called as math. There is a library called as math library, which is used for mathematics. Okay. So inside the math, there is a factorial function is available. Inside the math, there is a factorial. Factorial of 5. If you ask the factorial of 5, this is the one. Now here, automatically it is printing in the 120. What is the backend code? What is the backend code, miss? This is the backend code. This is the backend. It is going to work. Now, if you open the help file, if you click on the help file, see math.factorial of, it is going to consider only one argument, and document string means it is going to print the factorial of x. It gives the factorial of x as the output. So this, in the future, we are going to use like this, shortcuts. Once today's class is completed, from tomorrow only shortcuts will be there. Okay. So directly from the library, we are going to import whatever the function we want, and we are going to substitute the values, and it will display the answers. We are not going to write the code. These codes we are not going to write. None of the code we are going to write. Whether it is a 4 lines or 5 lines or 20 lines also, we are not going to write. Just we are going to import directly. We are going to import the library and we are going to substitute the values. Okay. So in the future, we are going to do this one. Sir, how it is working? That one also we are going to discuss. That is tomorrow's class. This is tomorrow's class. How this works and how to create, for example, import SRK. There is a library called as SRK library, which was predefined library, not inbuilt library. Inbuilt library means it is available for everyone. Predefined. I have created my own library. For my purpose, I have created my own library. Inside that library, whatever the functions are there, I'm going to call that functions. Whatever the functions I have created, I'm going to use that functions. And whatever the arguments are there, I'm going to substitute the arguments. And it will give the output directly in one shot. Right? How to create this library and how to call the functions, that we are going to discuss in the tomorrow's class. I mean, in the next class. Right? Now, what are the different types of arguments are there, miss? A function can have no arguments. Already we have discussed, right? A function with no arguments, a function with arguments. If you have created the function with no arguments, if you have created a function with no arguments, you have to call the function also. Call the function also with no arguments. You have to call the function also with no arguments because you have not created, right? When you have not created the function with no arguments, you have to call the function also with no arguments. If you have created the function with arguments, you have to call the function also with arguments. the number of arguments while creating the function, while calling the function, both should be the same. Otherwise, it will throw the error. Is that clear? How we can know the function is user defined or built in? So you are creating your one function, means here def function, def is there, right? Def means user defined. If def is not there, means that is inbuilt. Right? In the entire Python, from the top to bottom, the Jupyter notebook, inside that Jupyter notebook, for every wherever the def word is there, that is created. Def word is not there, means that is inbuilt. Now here, this is the function even underscore num, right? What is this function is used for? What purpose this function is used? Means it is going to select the lower value and upper value for I in range of lower value and upper value plus 1. So for example, I'm creating this function and I'm calling the function. That is first it is asking enter the lower bound values, starting value. That is I'm entering the starting value as 1. Enter the upper bound. I'm entering the 20. Now for I in range of 1 to 21, means 20 also is included. So it is going to print the whatever the numbers are even numbers. It is just printing the all the even numbers. This function was created even numbers for printing the even numbers, even underscore num, to print the even numbers within the given range. Is that clear? A function with no arguments. Now a function with arguments. Now let us start with the function with arguments. Most important class for the tomorrow's session, not for tomorrow's, for the further all the sessions. This is the most important. How many stars you want, you can keep in the notes. Okay. So here the function, whatever the function is there, within the function, we are having the arguments. Multiple arguments will be there, whether 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, whatever the arguments are there. So out of which the first one is called as positional arguments. What is meant by positional arguments means whatever the first one you have written, it is going to consider in the first position. Whatever you have written in the second position, it will consider the second position. So see here, def greet, name comma message. Name comma message means 2 arguments. I have created with 2 arguments. One argument name is called as name. One argument name is called as message. And this function was created to print the hello name comma message. Okay. Now I'm calling the function greet srk comma good morning. Now what is meant by name? Name is srk, message is good morning. Automatically it is taking in the sequential order. This is called as positional arguments. Sequential order, whatever the order you have written, it is going to consider. Just it is going to give the name comma message is equal to srk comma good morning. Just it is whenever you call the function, just it is going to observe here number of arguments, here the number of arguments same or not. First it will observe that one. If both of them are same, it is going to take like this. That is name comma message is equal to srk comma good morning. Automatically name is equal to srk, message is equal to good morning. Just variable assignment, multiple variable assignment. Okay, just it is applying the multiple variable assignment concept. Now here greet srk comma good morning. So what is inside the function is there? Print hello name comma message. What is name? srk. What is message? Good morning. So now what it is going to print? Hello srk good morning. Just it is going to print. Now the same function I'm asking greet good morning comma srk. Now what is good morning comma srk means? What is name? Here number of arguments. How many number of arguments this function was created? 2. While calling also 2 arguments are there. Level both are same. Yes, both are same means function will work. So function will work means name will be considered as good morning comma srk. It will take like this. Name is equal to good morning. Good morning is the name. Message is srk. Now print hello name. What is name? Good morning. Hello good morning srk. It is going to print in this way. Name is considered as good morning. Whatever you have written in the first position, it will print. Sir, here instead of good morning, I'm writing a hello 2. Number 2 I have written. The number of arguments here and number of arguments are same. Yes, here 2 arguments, here also 2 arguments. While calling also 2 arguments. Whether the 2 arguments are string, inter, floater, it is not going to check. First it will check whether the number of arguments are same or not. That is the first step. First step, it is going to check the number of arguments are same or not. Second step, name comma message is equal to 2 comma srk. This is the second step. After that, name will be considered as 2 and message is considered as srk. And now it is going to execute inside that. Inside that, for example, here hello name. Name is 2 and message is srk. Hello to srk. It is going to print like this. Sir, for example, here inside this instead of print, you have print plus name plus message. You have taken like this, sir. Assume this is the one. Okay. Print hello plus name plus message. This is the function you have created. Now, while calling this function, name is equal to srk, good morning is message is equal to good morning. Hello plus srk. Can I add? String concatenation can be done. Yes. Hello, SRK, good morning. You are going to print like this. So string concatenation will be done and it is printing. Whatever the value is there, it is printing the value. Hello, SRK, good morning. Now, for example, if I'm using this one, now again tell me, here the function was created with how many arguments? 2 arguments. While calling the arguments, 2. First step is successful. That is number of arguments. Number of arguments while defining is equal to number of arguments while calling. If both are same or not. First it will check. First, this is the first step. If both of them are not same, it is going to throw the error. The number of arguments are not same. That is the first one. First error you are going to get. For example, you have created only with one argument. So greet is missing one positional argument, which is called as message. So here out of 2, this is SRK is considered as name. Second one is missing. Sir, I have given the message, sir, not name, but still it will understand name only. Whatever is in the first position, it will understand, oh, you have given the first value only. One value is missing. Simply to say one value is missing. Now, for example, 2 I have written. Number of arguments are same. Both are same. This is the first step is completed successfully. What is the second step? Means name comma message is equal to 2 comma SRK. This is the second step. Second step also completed. If both the arguments are same, means automatically second step will be executed. Next, name will be considered as 2 and message will be considered as SRK. This is also common. And execute the code. Now it will go into the code. Inside the code, what is there? Hello, okay, hello, plus 2, plus good morning. Oh, sorry, SRK. Now, string concatenation. String can be concatenated with these 2 can be concatenated, but this will not be concatenated. It is going to throw the string concatenation error. It is going to throw the type error that I can't concat the string with the int. So now, whenever you are calling this one, see, type error, we can't concat the string with the int. It has went inside. See, first line was executed. First line executed. The problem is here. The problem is not in while calling the function. The problem is inside the function. Is that clear now? So this function was created in this way. Right? So number of arguments, just it is going to take the number of arguments. And so for example, you are having only one argument, it is going to throw the error. Next, second one is called as default argument. You can keep the biggest star also for this. Out of entire, this is the most important one. Of course, as of now, you may laugh or you may think that Sir is saying important like this. Sir is telling still in the college days how we'll keep important points like this he is saying. Now you will not understand. While machine learning, then I will say that in functions we have discussed now, then you'll recollect and you'll come back, right? Then you'll not recognize, right? Then you'll understand the importance of this one. Why I'm saying to keep the star mark, then you'll understand. Now you'll not understand. Because we are in the starting stage only, right? The importance of this one you'll see in the future, right? At the time you'll understand clearly. Right? Now, default arguments. Default arguments means while creating a function, we are assigning a default value to the argument by using the assignment operator is equal to. Okay, by using the assignment operator equal to, we are going to create a default value. Means what is meant by default value? If you don't assign the value for the default arguments, it will automatically select the default value. If you assign the value for the default argument, it will consider whatever the value you have assigned. Okay, means for example here, see, def, what is that? See here, I have taken the same function, def greet, inside that name comma message, and print hello name message. Okay, this is called as position arguments. Now here, default argument, I'm going to create one more time the same def greet name comma message is equal to good morning. Message is equal to good morning. What is the difference between this one and this one? Means this function was created with one position argument, one default argument. This one is created by 2 positional arguments. What is meant by positional argument? Means you have to give the 2 arguments while calling the function. 100% you have to give 2 values. This, how many positional arguments are there? That many arguments you have to call. Here, this function was created with 1 positional argument, 1 default argument. Now, so here inside this print hello comma message. Now what it is going to do means greet SRK comma good night. 2 arguments I have given. Here how many arguments it has created? The function was created 2 arguments. While calling the function also 2 arguments. Both are same. Now name is equal to SRK. Message is equal to good night. It is not going to consider the good morning. It is not going to consider the good morning. It will consider the good night only. And it is going to print hello comma message. What is there inside the message? good night. So hello, good night. It is going to print hello, good night. Sir, then what is the use of creating this one, sir? If you don't create this one, answer will remain same only, right? Then what is the difference? Why you are creating this one? This one will be, why I have created means, while calling with one argument, when you are calling with one argument, name is considered as Satish. Message, automatically it will take as good morning. Name is considered as so for example, I'm writing here name also. Hello, name comma message. Okay, first I'll show you without this one. Okay, I'm calling the same thing in the same function. Inside the same function only I'm calling here itself, I'm calling. Okay, name comma message. Now the same thing I'm calling with second example with only one. Now for this greet, how many arguments are there? 2 arguments. Now we are calling with one argument. It is going to throw error. This is called as positional argument. This is very clear. Now the same function, copy. Instead of message, I'm keeping the good morning. In the message, I'm keeping good morning. Right? Now I'm calling the same function with Satish. Here I'm calling the same function with Satish. Greet Satish. Now what it is going to throw? Hello Satish, good morning. So what is the difference between this one and this one? So here one argument is there. One argument it has thrown the error, but here one argument it has executed, because here this one was created. Name is considered as Satish. Message if you don't give means automatically consider the good morning. If you don't give, if means what is the meaning of that? If it is condition is satisfied. If you don't give value for default argument, if you don't give the value for default argument, what I have written, if you don't give, if you have not given the value for the default argument only, it has to consider the default value. If you have given miss, it should not consider, ignore. This should be ignored. Condition not satisfied, right? Condition not satisfied means if block, what happens? It is going to ignore. If you have given the value for the default argument miss, it will ignore. If you have not given the value miss, automatically it will consider. It is clear now? Next. So here, do you remember the print statement? Print 10, 20, 30. So print is the function. I told you in the starting, print is the function where we are going to give the arguments 10, 20, 30. Now what is the output? It is going to print 10 space 20 space 30. It is going to written like this. Why it is taking the space? By default, it is having the space as the separator. If you don't give anything also, if you open now the shift tab, you'll understand. Space is equal to separator. This is the function. Can you see the function? Print is the function. Inside the values are there. These are all called as positional arguments. Whereas separator is equal to, inside the function, the separator is already having the equal to symbol. This is called as default argument. Whichever the function is having inside that one argument is having equal to, that function is called as, that argument is called as default argument. So see here, this function, why I'm creating this function. So see this function, message, comma, name, comma, message is equal to good morning. Message is equal to good morning. This is called as default argument. Then what is this is called as? Positional argument, compulsory argument. Positional argument or compulsory arguments. This is compulsory arguments. This is default. If you don't write also, no problem. If you don't write message also, no problem. If you write only name also, no problem. But minimum name is compulsory. Name is compulsory. Without that, it is not going to work. Default means if you don't write means automatically it will consider. Now, if you see in the printer, in the print function, so here, what this separator, if you don't write also, no problem. It automatically considers the space. If you don't write, automatically it will consider the space. Right? Now, what are the compulsory arguments? Means minimum at least one value is compulsory. Without one value, you can't call the function. So, for example, here it is this function, print function is there. Inside that, you are not keeping anything. Nothing is there. And you have executed. Okay. Now, this is not going to print anything. So here, nothing is printing because you're not asking anything. Nothing is printing. Now here, if you observe here, compulsory minimum 1 and maximum ... infinite. Nothing, no problem. Anything you can write. How this function was created also, I will show you. Okay. How the infinite number of arguments we can take also, I will show you. Next one is separator is equal to space. By default, separator. So here you are writing 10, 20. Okay. Inside this, you have written 10, 20. If you don't write anything, by default, the separator is space. But you have written the separator also. Separator, I want to ask colon. Then you have written miss. You have written miss. Whatever you have written, it has to consider. If you don't write only, it has to take the default. Same thing here. See. So good morning. If you don't write only, it has taken the good morning. If you have written the good night clearly, it has taken the good night only. If you don't write only, it will consider by default. Default means if you don't write. If you don't write, automatically it will consider, is called as default argument. Is that clear? Default argument means if you don't write anything for that, if you don't assign any value for that argument, automatically it will consider. Okay. If you don't assign value for default argument, it will automatically selects the default value. Whatever the default value is inside the function is there, it will automatically selects. Here, if you don't write anything, automatically it is selecting the space as the separator. Separator is the default argument for the print. How you can see that which are default arguments, which are non-default arguments means which argument is having equal to symbol, that is default argument. Which one is not having the equal to symbol, that is not called as default argument. That is compulsory argument. Equal to is that means default. If you don't write also, no problem. Is that clear? Clear, guys? Now, third one is called as keyword arguments. Next arguments is called as keyword arguments. Now, the same function I'm creating. Now here, greet good morning, comma Satish. Now these are the two arguments. What are the two arguments are there? Once again, the same two arguments. I'm calling good morning, Satish. Now what happens? Name is, what is the name? Name is good morning. Message is Satish. Just check the number of arguments. Number of arguments. Satisfied? Satisfied. Next, name, comma message is equal to good morning, comma Satish. So name will be considered as good morning. Message is taken as Satish. Now, while calling the function, this will work. Now, what are these two arguments? Positional arguments. Then they're just positional arguments. Just first example, whatever we have seen, the same example, positional arguments. In the first position, name, it is considering good morning. In the second position, it is considering the Satish. Now, if I written the message word clearly, I have written the word called as message, good morning, name is equal to Satish. Now, it is not going to consider in the order. Here, order is not important because message you have written very clearly. In the message place, you have to consider the good morning only. In the name place, you have to consider the Satish only. So it is going to consider the hello Satish, good morning. What is the difference between this one and this one? Here, you have given with clearly the keyword. Whatever the keyword name is there, the word you have used it very clearly. So automatically it is going to consider that word only. If you have not given that word, automatically positional arguments. Now, whenever you are using the word, you can write in whichever the position you want. Then order is not important. For keyword arguments, order is not important. Is that clear? These are called as keyword arguments. The next one, last one is called as arbitrary arguments. The last one is called as arbitrary arguments. Arbitrary arguments means number of arguments you don't know. Initially itself, you don't know what is the number of arguments you are going to give. Then it is called as arbitrary arguments, like inside the print function. Inside the print function, you may write one line, one value. You may write two values. You may write three values. You may write four values. How many values you are going to write? This function was created for multiple values. How many values the user has entered according to that. For example, print function was created with two values only. Assume that def of print of a comma b. This was created with two arguments, means print will work only for two arguments. Whenever you are writing print of 10 comma 20 comma 30, it will throw the error because the function was created with two arguments. So now the function I'm going to create not with two arguments, I'm going to create with infinite arguments. The function with infinite arguments, any arguments you can write as per your choice. How many arguments you want, you can write. So now here, just greet star and write the argument name, one argument name as per your choice. Now for I in names, print hello I. So here greet 124. 124 is considered as value and hello 124. For example, here inside this 124, you are writing with the hello greet SRK, comma Satish, comma Siva. You have written three arguments. So hello SRK, hello Satish, hello Siva. So now what happened means star names is equal to SRK, comma Satish, comma Siva. Star names is equal to this one. What is meant by star names means names is equal to, this will be considered as a tuple. That's it. This is considered as a tuple. Whatever the values you have written, it is a tuple. It is converting that one as a tuple. In the back end, whenever you have written, just see star names. In the star names, SRK, Satish, Siva, three are there. Names is equal to, it is going to take as it is like this. SRK, Satish, Siva. And just it is executing for I in names. Now I, what is I value? I in names means I is equal to SRK, hello SRK. I is equal to Satish, hello Satish. I is equal to Siva, hello Siva. Just in the back end, it is going to take a couple of arguments. Is that clear? Star names, instead of names, you are interested with whatever the value. For example, you are written star n. Okay, star n. Star n is equal to SRK Satish Siva. Now what happens? N is equal to tuple of. Just the star will become this side as a tuple of. That's it. Is that clear? And now it is going to work on the for loop. Just it is working on the for loop. For I in n, it is going to execute. Here, if you have written only two arguments, tuple of two arguments. Tuple can have two arguments, right? Tuple can have one argument, right? Tuple can have one argument. Tuple can have two arguments. Tuple can have infinite number of arguments. Values, infinite number of values. Is that clear? So a function was defined with one argument, two arguments, three arguments, anything. Right? Is that clear? Sir, here I have written the greet one. Now what it is going to do? Hash star n is equal to 1. N is equal to tuple of 1. It is not int 1, tuple of 1. Now for loop automatically works, right? For in tuple of 1 means for I is equal to 1. Hello 1. It is going to print hello 1. It is not considering this one as, so you can't say that, sir, for I in 1 means integer, for int we can't apply the for loop now. Here it is not int, right? It is the tuple of 1. It is not 1, it is tuple of 1. For I in tuple of 1. So for I in tuple of 1 means automatically 1 also will be considered. It is normal int means it will not consider. Tuple of 1, right? So it will consider. That is syntax. Syntax, why it is considered as a tuple means it is the syntax. Whatever the values you have given, it is fixed. You can't change the values. So to fix the values, so once the values are fixed, sir, for loop is very fast for lista, for loop is very fast for tuple. For which one the for loop is very fast means for tuple the for loop is fast because the arguments are fixed. It is not going to change. Whereas tuple list argument was created in a different way. Right? So for example, in this class, the benches, whatever the benches and tables are there. For example, there is a classroom. One classroom is there. We want to create a classroom in such a way that inside the classroom, we can keep the plastic chairs. We can keep this kind of black color chairs. We can keep one front, one table, a long table. We can create with short tables. Like this, we can create whatever we want inside this classroom. Assume there is a classroom. Once there is a classroom where the chairs are also fixed with respect to, you can't move the chairs. They're fixed. Tables, whatever the tables we are having, the tables are also fixed. You can't move. You can't disturb them. Once the classroom was designed means you can't disturb the classroom. The students can change. The students can sit or whatever they can do, but chairs you can't move. You can't move the chair. You can't move the table. They are fixed. Okay. For example, the table was created by using the cement and bricks. Now you can't move the table, right? If the table is made of plastic or wood means you can move that one. If the table was made with respect to wooden cement and using the bricks means from where you can move that one. Then you can't move that one. It is fixed, rock solid. Now, if it is a rock solid, then you can't move. This creation of this one is easy or the creation of this one is easy means creation of this one is easy. Why? Because it is fixed. It is not going to change. Whereas this one, you can change as per your choice. So for loop, wherever the for loop is there, this for loop will work for tuple very fastly when compared to list. Because here the modifications are allowed. So modifications are allowed means this object was created in such a way where the modifications are allowed. Okay. For example, let us take like this. Machine learning. If there is a fixed lines of code in the machine learning, if there are fixed lines of code are fixed. For each algorithm, this is the code. Fixed code is there. Okay. Fixed lines of code is there. Then what is the use of machine learning engineer? No use of machine learning engineer. Because fixed lines of code means I can create my user defined function only, right? I will only create my user defined function. Then what is the use of hiring you as a machine learning engineer or as a data scientist? There is no fixed code. There is no fixed code. In data science, there is no fixed code. Okay, for this argument, set first this one, followed by this one, followed by this one, followed by this one. There is no order like that. There is no fixed lines of code. For data set to data set, you have to react according to that. For example, in this class, girls we are having with respect to just only 4 students in the offline. As of now in the class, in front of me, only 4 students are there. 4 girl students are there and 40 boys are there. Okay, 4 girls and 40 boys. Okay, and in another batch, also 4 girls and 40 boys will be there. 10:30 batch, we are having almost 25 girls are there and almost 40 boys are there. Okay, evening 7:30 batch, again different are there. Now, how we are going to analyze this one and this one same way? Are you going to analyze same way? No, we are going to analyze in a different way. And here, once I am explaining the functions, when I'm explaining the functions or by calling the functions or by I'm asking the questions to the students, some students are giving the answers. Some students are not giving the answers. How many students are giving the answers? I'm observing that one. Which student is giving, which student is not giving, and how many students are giving. The same thing. The same thing I'm observing in the other batch. In that other batch, if more number of students are responding and in your batch less number of students are responding, then you are going to analyze in a different way. In your batch, more number of students are responding when compared to other batch, you are going to analyze in a different way. Data set to data set, the answer will change. For everything, it is not same. There is no fixed lines of code is there in the data science. Depends upon the data. Okay. In the HDFC bank, the customers are different. In IDFC bank, the customers are different. When you're working in IDFC bank, according to the customers, we have to analyze the data. If you're working in HDFC bank, you have to analyze the customers' data in a different way. All the customers are not same. For all of them, it is not the same code. Universal code is not available for the data science. If universal code is there, means automatic will come into picture. Then there is no use of data science. Simple. Wherever the fixed code is there, wherever the code is fixed, auto will come into picture. Then jobs will be less. No jobs will be there. Related to that, no jobs will be there. When there is no fixed code, more number of jobs will be there for that. Simple. Right? Fixed code is there means one after means why I have to hire you? I will only do that one, right? Everything is fixed. I can create my user defined directly myself and I will write the fixed lines of code. Then why I have to hire you for writing that fixed lines of code, copy paste? I can't do that copy paste. I also know Control C, Control V, right? So we'll only do that Control C and Control V. Then why we have to hire you? Right? So there is no fixed code in data science particularly. Next, the last one. So function which is called as factorial function. Earlier I have shown you, right? This is the factorial function. Okay. Now factorial function we have written in this way. The same factorial function we can write in another way. N factorial is equal to n into n minus 1 factorial. One way of writing n factorial is n into n minus 1 into n minus 2 into n minus 3 into n minus 4, so on up to 1 till you get the 1. This is continue. That is here what we have written. First we have taken n value, minus 1 we have done. After that minus 1 we have done. After that minus 1 we have done till we get the 1. Because last number 0 we have kept means only 1 will be considered. So here whatever we have done is this one. Now if you want to write a code for this one, that is n is equal to n into n minus 1 factorial. Now what is meant by factorial? If I ask you what is meant by factorial, factorial symbol n factorial, you are saying n factorial is equal to n into n minus 1 factorial. I'm asking factorial means you are also saying answer factorial only. I'm asking the question factorial and you are also saying the answer as factorial. Then what? Tell me what is meant by n minus 1 factorial. N is equal to n minus 1 factorial. What is n minus 1 factorial? N minus 1 into n minus of minus 1 of minus 1. That is n minus 2 factorial. What is n minus 2 factorial? N minus 2 into n minus 3 factorial. Right? So this is called as same factorial is continuing inside also. Multiple times the factorial is continuing. It is called as a recursive function. Same thing was repeating miss, then it is called as recursive function. So here recursive, it is called as recursive. Recursive means same thing you are doing multiple times. So here if you observe here, def fact of n, if n value is less than or equal to 1, written only 1. If it is you are asking factorial of minus 4, for minus 4 we know that factorial is not available, which is nothing but 1. If you are asking factorial of 0, it is also 1. Factorial of 1, it is also 1. For factorial of 2 only, if it is greater than 1 only, we can have the factorial. Okay, so factorial greater than 1, that is n into fact of n minus 1. So now here I am creating the fact. Now I am asking fact of 5. Okay, 5 factorial. Now what happens? Fact of 5 means I am calling the fact of 5. Now here n is equal to 5. Here number of arguments by creating the function is 1, while calling the function also 1. So n is equal to 5. It is going to create with n is equal to 5 and execute the whatever inside the block is there that you have to execute. First 5 is less than or equal to 1. 5 is less than or equal to 1? No. So it is going to, if condition will not work, else. In else what is there? Written n into n minus 1 factorial. That is 5 into 5 minus 1 factorial. That is 5 into 4 factorial. Again now n is equal to 4. Again it will execute. That is 5 into 4 into 3 factorial. Now 3 here. Fact of 3. What is fact of 3? So nothing but see 1 in 5 into fact of 4. Now what is fact of 4? Fact of 4 means 4 into fact of 3. What is fact of 3? 3 into fact of 2. So 5 into 4 into 3 into fact of 2. 5 into 4 into fact 2 into fact of 1. Now n is less than or equal to 1. 1. It is going to return the 1. So 5 into 4 into 3 into 1, which is 120. It is going to return in this way. This is the code working. In this way, the code is working. You ask the fact of 5. Fact of 5 is equal to 5 into fact of 4. Means again same function. Inside it is calling one more function. Again inside it is calling one more function. Again inside it is calling one more function. The function was called multiple times. Same function, whatever you have defined, you are calling the same function inside, means it is called as recursive function. Whatever the function you have created, that function only you are calling inside also, then it is called as recursive function. Sir, for example, I have created one function fact, sir, but inside I am calling add function, sir, add function or multiplication function, something other functions I am calling. Then it is not called as recursive function. Recursive function means same function, whatever you have defined, the same function should be called. If you are calling other functions, means then it is a normal function only, general function. Is that clear? Done? Functions are clear? Any questions? Now, what is the difference between this function? Here, let us copy this one. What is the difference between this one and this one? Here also you are calling the fact of 5. Here also you are calling fact of 5. Fact of 5, fact of 5. Now, what is the difference between this one and this one? So let us call this one also fact of 5. So in the above case 120, in below case also 120. Forget about return and print. I'm not focusing on return and print. Okay, here it is a normal function. This is a recursive function. That is the difference. This function is called as iterative function because it is based on the iterations, for loop, right? So this is also called as iterative function. If any for loop is there inside the function, based on the iterations it is working, miss, then it is called as iterative function. The same function was called miss, then it is called as a recursive function. That is the difference between these two. Okay, one is iterative function, one is a recursive function. Both of them are factorial functions only. If functions are clear, miss, tomorrow's class again it is going to be easy because we are going to create a library, user defined library we are going to create. Okay, a library or a module, whatever it is, we are going to create this one, right? Sir, rather than factorial function, can you explain like a Fibonacci series? Okay, one more example is Fibonacci series, where the same thing you are going to use n to the power n factorial, or sorry, not factorial, n x to the power of n. Inside also you are going to use same x to the power of n. That type of series, wherever you are having the same thing inside, then it is called as recursive. Right? Is that clear?